You're listening to Experience This, a show about the emerging experience economy with your host, Tom Young.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is Tom Young. I'm sitting here with Kiran Bajwa.
Hey, Tom. How's it going?
All right. Hey, we at our last show, we talked about how we were going to go to the NRF convention in New York to see which was the largest retail convention.
Mm-hmm.
So we both went and checked that out. It was pretty interesting. What were your thoughts on that?
A lot of interesting thoughts. I thought that the displays themselves were magnificent. However,
it's hard to imagine. So people haven't seen it. It was on the west side of the Jacob Javits Center.
Yeah.
Right. So it's right around
11th Avenue.
11th and like 40th, right?
34th.
34th, something around there. And a lot of construction going on. It's right by where you live.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was a little over 60,000 people there.
Oh, it was packed.
And I'm not sure how much square footage, but I think it was like a cajillion. It was. I didn't walk everywhere. It was just really. It was big.
It was a bit overwhelming.
Several. I want to say, if you think in terms of city blocks in New York, it's probably 4 or 5 city blocks.
Yeah, I think it's about 4 blocks wide.
Yeah.
And 4 or 5 floors.
Yeah, it's amazing. It was amazing in terms of its scope and spectacle. We went to one of our clients, and they had a booth that was covered floor space. I want to say maybe 30 by 30, and it wasn't that spectacular in the scheme of things.
Yeah,
compared to like Microsoft's booth, but but they said they spent $1 million on the booth.
Wow.
So you had to figure. You saw the Microsoft booth when you walked through, right?
Yeah.
All right. Multi-levels and stairs and conference rooms above it, and that had to cost several $1 million.
The booth with the longest line that I saw was the one that had a barista giving away free lattes.
Yeah. So I've gone to a lot of trade shows over the years. It's the first time I've ever gone to NRF, and it was very well done. It feels like they're a little bit bursting at the seams there at Jacob Javits.
Yeah. They're
going to have to
probably expand a bit.
Expand, or it's hard to think about moving the retail out of New York. Just given the you can put it in Orlando or Vegas with some bigger facilities, but I think you'd lose a lot because it's an international convention.
Yeah.
But what I found interesting was I don't know what I was thinking, but when I went there, I thought I would see retailers on the floor.
Yeah, I think we talked about it. We imagined seeing Walmart, Target, Levi's, all with the booths the size of Microsoft.
And none of them were there. None of them.
They
were walking around in blue jeans and a T-shirt on the floor, looking at everyone who's trying to sell to them.
Yeah.
So you have all these technology companies, consulting companies, who have booths who are trying to lure the retailers who are walking the floor. So the customers of the retailers and the people spending the money on these huge floor spaces are the arms dealers of retail.
Yeah, it was a technology show.
Yeah. So in that sense, it was interesting. I think, when we look at the video playback from the marketing site we just watched, I think the most interesting thing would probably be the stage shows where senior leadership from very large retailers are coming in and sharing their thoughts on where they see retail going.
Yeah, I think those talks had a lot of good insights, and they're probably closer to the consumers. So that was probably would have been much more informative than walking around seeing all the buzzwords.
Well, there's no prohibition or rules about using buzzwords. So people say things. We saw digital everywhere. Experience we saw everywhere, which is very interesting. But I likened what I saw to taking new things and just putting a primer coat on an old model with the buzzword. So I visited, a lot of the booths when I walked around, and when they talked about experience, I was drawn. I wanted to see what they were going to say about it. But it was mostly just cliches, and as I would call it, a primer coat over an old model. They weren't really reimagining or stepping back foundationally and looking at a new business model that was focused on experience. They were just talking about it as if uttering the words was dealing with the issue of customer experience being foundational to retail.
In my mind, it just popped up that on our last podcast when we looked at the Westfield 2028 vision, imagine if that was set up there and you were able to walk through the 2028 vision. That is really reimagining retail. Not just what we saw.
So it was more like, I use the buzzword, now buy my stuff. That was how I viewed each of the booths. And it's very successful convention. So I don't want to say.
And a lot of work goes into it.
But it seems like the kind of conversations that you and I have been having over the past year or so on this topic doesn't lend itself to the kind of commercialism that we saw at this convention. Right? Because we're talking about a new paradigm shift or a new idea. And it's unclear to me that where the commercials lie in that. Because at the end of the day, our premise is that the experience economy is going to be about time and less about money.
Yeah, I think the references to time that we did see were all around,
shopper convenience.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's missing the point.
Yeah.
So again, we talked at our previous podcast about visiting the Starbucks roastery,
right,
at the Reserve. The convenience of time was not part of their value quotient there.
No.
In fact, at some level, they're probably concerned you spend too much time there. Right?
Yeah.
So they're not trying to save you time. They're trying to use your time in a way that you value.
Yeah, it's much more.
And so you end up wanting to spend more time there. So when I think of the use of time, it's most of the time people are thinking, I want to get in and get out. That's a utilitarian view of shopping. And what we're trying to describe as a retail experience that says, hey, no, this is an experience. This is something for you to go do. So think of like even going to the movies. I don't think of, I'm only going to go to the movies if it's a 90-minute movie, or if it's over 2 hours, I'm not going to see it. Sometimes people do that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you're going there to be entertained. And I didn't see any of that really at NRF in terms of how you engage your customers' time in a way that is, thinking about how they value their time, other than saving them time in shopping, treating it like shopping like a chore.
Yeah, I think it's two different things. What we saw was definitely the latter, just shopper convenience and more data around time. But there was nothing about like you just said, there's nothing around the human component of how are we enriching lives? How are these experiences better? What's the lifestyle piece that we talked about last time? It's all of that stuff. Maybe it was on the main stage. Maybe some of the retailers were talking about it. In the preview, it looked like they were probably touching on some of that stuff. But that's the real change in all of this.
I also think what we're talking about is fundamentally radical.
Yeah.
To the retail model. So in that way, the Starbucks Reserve, even the Samsung Experience Store, a couple of the places we went, they're radical departures from classic retail.
And we've also even talked about a shift from how much shit can you really have? And using your time in other ways, less about just bombarding yourself with purchasing more product and making it easier to purchase product.
Well, the model of retail says you need more stuff.
Yeah. So it's shifting the entire model of retail, essentially.
So if you suggest that you need less, that's heretical. And look around that convention, and there's a lot of vested interest in making sure that your heresy never gets the light of day.
Well, I saw one of the things that stood out to me was this cashless grab and go. So they talked about reimagining convenience stores.
Right.
And when customers could just take the product, scan it, and be out the door. It's like, oh my God, they're sort of directly feeding into getting people to buy more stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's the Amazon model, right? Where it's RFID'd and there's no checkout. You just walk in, grab it, and go, and it's hit your Amazon Prime account. But I think that when we talk about selling people their time, we visited Eataly.
Yeah.
And I didn't, at Eataly, it's been there 8-9 years.
Yeah, about 10 years.
Another great experience place. It's retail. They sell a lot of things, but it's experiential. There's restaurants there.
The point is, people are happily going to open their wallets.
Yeah.
We were in there yesterday, and 3 of us from our team were talking about, oh, we need to pick up this great pasta and X, Y, and Z. So you're going to get that. But that's not what they were. It's all blended. It wasn't just pushing product. It was the experience of being there. It was enjoying your time, sitting down, having a meal, this whole...
So I didn't see... So if I think of Eataly as a great example of inculcating experience into a shopping venue, because when you look at this none of the stuff I saw at Eataly was cheap.
Yeah, it's not.
It's exotic Italian stuff around eating. You know, I think they had 7,000 different kinds of cheese. It was crazy. But then they have restaurants all over the place. But they also had a teaching kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And TJ and Cassidy, they took a class there. And again, that's not inexpensive. I think they said it was a couple $100 a head. But they teach you how to make different things, and it's experiential, and it drives you into a retail experience. But you don't think of it as, oh, I'm going to buy stuff. You go think, I'm going to experience something.
And as a part of that experience, you might buy some of the products you used in that class, but it all stems from the experience.
Right. But I didn't sense the DNA that makes Eataly a top destination down in that area.
10 years
it's
running
packed all the
and
time.
Always packed.
It's always packed. I didn't see any of that DNA at NRF. Now maybe it existed, I just didn't see it. It was a big conference. But I didn't see that anywhere in any of the booths that I saw. I didn't go walk the floor with you. You walked with Rohan.
Mm-hmm.
And I was walking around with TJ. And, we looked around and said, boy, this is a lot of the same stuff over and over again. And I didn't see any of the Eataly DNA.
No.
Did you?
Nope. It's the Restoration Hardware, the Starbucks Reserve, the Eataly. None of that experiential stuff was visible.
What I'm talking about is the notion of how do I help a retailer reorganize their business model around that experience. There's lots of... Eataly's making money.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And it was not inexpensive. The food was pretty good.
Pricey, but good.
Right. We went and had drinks upstairs on the roof. That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I heard you say in the summertime that's packed. They open up the roof.
Oh, and they change the themes in the roof. So it's summertime in Italy. In the winter times, they just might have changed it a couple weeks ago. But before Christmas, it was a ski lodge. So it was après ski. So this concept, this is the first one I think they opened up, right? The Flatiron location, yeah. And now they have a second location downtown by World Trade.
And there's a French one that opened up downtown as well?
Yeah, Les District.
So people are catching on to this.
And the Spanish one is opening up in Hudson Yards in March.
That's right.
Yep, same exact concept.
So my sense is this is a radical departure from classic retail. And the entrenched interests that you see at NRF are probably going to be slow to pick it up. Yeah,
it wasn't visible when we walked around. It was just more AI automation.
Well, NRF
data.
in and of itself is a business, right?
Yeah, I was like,
those conferences are not for free. I mean, I forget what a ticket was, a couple $1,000s just to walk the floor.
Yeah,
but it's So that's a business in and of itself. But when we start to talk about less is more and selling less and managing time, it's a very different business model. And not everybody can do it.
Maybe there's another trade show that we're not plugged into yet. I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. But some people are obviously talking about it. The guys at Eataly and their friends at Starbucks are chatting about it. But
we have to go figure that out, because the Eataly concept, I really like. In fact, I've been looking at like the cooking schools out here in New Jersey to see, because to me that concept extends beyond New York City, right? It's not just, where you've got such a concentration of population and wealth. I move out into the suburbs. Can I find the same business models working in, say, Somerset County, New Jersey?
I bet the suburbs would love that. And you can have some that are catered just to adults and some where it's inclusive with their kids.
There's a place called Natarar. It used to be the King of Morocco's spread here in Somerset County. And the county bought it and they sold it. Anyway, they have this restaurant called 99 Acres, I think it's called. But they have a cooking school. And they do something similar to what Eataly does. Mm-hmm. And they teach you how to cook different things. But they have this one thing called date night, where the cooking is on a Friday night or a Saturday night. You just can't get tickets.
Yeah.
It's packed because it's like, oh, that's a cool thing to go do. And I think, to me, when you think about experiences, not just around food, that's what we've been talking about, but around a lot of other things like home improvement, do-it-yourself projects.
Oh, yeah, DIY stuff. Yeah, there's so many opportunities for that. Painting. I know some places do BYOB, paint and sip wine type classes. The opportunities are endless in that space.
So we have up on the screens as we're sitting here a video loop of drone flyovers of Norway. Yeah. But even thinking about how you could reinvent travel agencies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Give people a flavor,
of what it might actually be like to go to that location before you go.
Right.
And now enabled by 4K, I mean, this is stunning.
It's stunning footage, but you can go and reimagine stuff and then bring in a retail component to this, bring in a experiential component, tie in a cooking class. Maybe you can experience some of the foods that you might see when you travel to these places, have a cooking class on it, and you extend the travel to a pre-planning and something you do afterwards.
Yeah.
So this are the kind of things that I think we're going to start to see in reimagined business models that are driven in what is called retail today. But it really requires, to me, a foundational rethinking what that business model is.
Yeah, that stuff would be absolutely exciting. And I think when we talk a lot about putting customers in the center of it all, this is where customers would really benefit.
And I think what we want to do with this show is to get people to start thinking about the algebra of their economy, of their wallet versus their clock. And at the end of the day,
yep,
you only have so much time and you only have so much money. And you have to solve for both of those.
Yeah.
So if I said to you, Kiran, we have a Saturday afternoon to spend, hang out, and I only have $100. Could we have fun?
Absolutely.
Okay. Could you have fun with 50?
Yeah.
With 25? The answer is yes,
yeah.
All the way down, because it really boils down to your attitude towards your time. And if you think money is the only way to enjoy your time, then you're missing the point. Right? So I'd like to say to people, I'll double your wealth overnight or in a moment. To say, here you go, you ready? Be content with half. There you go.
Yeah, no, it's a fundamental shift.
It's a fundamental shift. And having less stuff is liberating.
It's massively liberating. That whole, people need to, there's a documentary, The Tiny Home.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I could go all the way to a tiny house, but even just 20% of the way there. And I'm in an apartment. So I'm pretty much.
You're in a tiny apartment.
Yeah, I'm already on that route. So, but it's liberating.
And your prior living situations, you've probably had bigger places all the time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Or I've lived in the suburbs, so you have huge places then.
Right.
But and you always notice when people do spring cleaning, they always talk about how good it feels to give away stuff.
Right. The term, I have a lot of possessions. What are those things? Are they possessing you, or are you possessing that? Where's my stuff? I got to take care of my stuff.
And
I have to get to my stuff.
People are always overwhelmed by, oh my God, I got to clean up my garage. I've got so much stuff in my garage.
Yeah, burn it to the ground.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this on another episode, but I want to talk. I'll forward you this book. Did I already forward it to you? The Life Nomadic.
Yeah, I think you sent me the copy.
All right, so sometime in the next couple of weeks, to browse through that, because I want to talk a little bit more about that from it, because this guy really took the experience living to the next level. And when he literally sold everything that wasn't on it, that he wasn't wearing or could fit in a backpack, and then he writes about what happened.
Yeah,
and it runs countercultural to a retail model that says I need more. And the only thing better than large is extra large. Just buying more and more stuff, which is the retail model is more is better, to one that talks about optimizing your time.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, the experience economy, as we talk about, is a time versus a money set of algebra. And as you get older, you start to realize that the time paradigm that young people have, that time is limitless and money is scarce, inverts. And there is a point in time where you definitely realize you will run out of time before you run out of money. And it's at that point you're going to be looking for avenues to make better use of your time.
And experiences that you can share. I was just thinking, we went to Eataly. It's something for us to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, remember the time we sat there and enjoyed that great glass of wine and whatever we got.
Yeah.
But nobody talks about, oh, remember that time that I bought those pair of socks from the shelf because it was faster to get those socks out the door?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
It's not that.
No.
It's highly social.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Hey, so you and Rohan are going out to film festival?
Yeah, we're headed to Sundance.
All right.
So we're supporting one of our friends who's got his film premiering at Sundance. So we're really excited. Talk about an experience. Sundance is going to be one too.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
So a couple things I would ask you to do there. One is to talk about this concept with as many people as you can, because it seems to me like the clientele at a Sundance Film Festival are going to be very open to this concept.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And then the second thing is it turns the whole watching a movie into an experience way beyond going to the movie theater.
And
I think it's highly social.
Completely social.
Right? There'll be a lot of tie-ins to the movies, like parties, pre-parties, after parties.
Yes.
Discussions about it. You know, a lot of times you go watch a movie and then that's it. You either like it or you don't. You rate it on Rotten Tomatoes and there's no follow-up. But there, the whole point is, what do you think about the movie? Let's talk about it.
Oh, yeah. It's great energy.
How long are you going for?
We're going to be there for 4 days, so Thursday to Monday.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is the movie tickets themselves it's not a big production to get them. They're pretty inexpensive. It's like $20 a pop.
Yep.
And yeah, there's going to be a lot of discussions going on. Main Street's lit up. Chase has a lounge there.
What town is it in?
Park City, Utah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really fun.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to hearing about that.
Yeah. Yes.
So again, share this concept. I'd be interested what other people have to sing about this, but it's really this time versus money algebra that we're going to go through as you get older.
Yeah.
So anything else?
That's it.
Great. Well, let's look forward to our next show.
Perfect. Talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Hey, this is Kiran Bajwa. Thanks for checking out the show today. If you like what you heard, head on over to our website, rumjog.com. If you happen to be in the New York or New Jersey area, come check out our meetup called Digital Disruption. We cover topics like you heard today with a live audience. Lastly, don't forget to follow us on social media using the handle @rumjog. Talk to you soon.